I am glad to finally meet you in person, guests from the Astral Express. I'm Fei Xiao, the general of the Xianzhou Yao Cheng.
Let me introduce our guest to you. The one dressed in green.
He's the reincarnation of Imbibitor Lune, and the person behind him is the newest member of the crew. I've heard a lot about you. Outside the reports from the Law Fu, the Skyfaring Commission of the Yao Qing has also gathered plenty of information about both of you. I've been eager to meet you face to face for reasons that I'm sure General Jing Yuan has explained, right? Straight to the point. I like it. According to General Jing Yuan's report, the Ruin Legion is to blame for the Ambrosial Arbor crisis, and all Arbiter Generals should pay attention to the Ruin Author's movements. Over the years, the Destruction's minions have wreaked havoc on countless worlds, and the Alliance has been keeping an eye on them. But no one expected them to join hands with the remnants of the Abundance. The damage caused by the Ambrosial Arbor crisis was far less severe than expected, which is good news for us. However, it was quite different from the Ruin Legion's usual style of destroying life wherever they go. While I trust the bravery of the Divine Foresight and the Nameless, I'm curious about some details missing from the report. I'd like to take this chance to have an exchange with both of you. Let me be clear, the questions I'll ask might not reflect my actual thoughts, so please don't take offense if any of my questions seem a bit harsh.
Please go ahead, General. But keep in mind we can only answer based on what we know. And perhaps you already have the answers to your questions in your heart.
You have a clever tongue. I like it.
The Merlin's claw is quite articulate. Right now, her intentions are unknown, and Jing Yuan wants us to be honest. Maybe I'll just stick to the facts we know.
Let's cut to the chase. Before the crisis struck, the Astral Express was guided here by a Stellaron hunter, a wanted felon, in an attempt to resolve the Stellaron crisis. However, everyone in the cosmos knows of the Stellaron hunter's reputation. So, why did you place so much trust in them? Could it be that some of you have a connection with them?
Rumor has it that Elio, the leader of the Stellaron Hunters, possesses the power to see into the future. He foresaw that the Xianzhou and the Express would have important roles to play in the war against Nanook. That's why we were lured here to the Lafu, to deal with the Stellaron crisis and fulfill the prophecy.
General Jing Yuan believes in this prophecy too, as mentioned in the report. I'm curious why you didn't question it at all. Could it be because one of the Stellaron hunters is actually an old acquaintance of General Jing Yuan?
Please be cautious with your words, Merlin's Claw. Let's avoid sowing doubt among our comrades. That Stellaron hunter used to be my disciple. So are you putting my loyalty in question too?
I'm simply bringing up the doubts about General Jing Yuan that exist within the Alliance. Since I'm representing them, perhaps you can just imagine me as one of those old geezers. Let's move on to the next question. The report suggests that Don Shu, the master of the Disciples of Sanctus Medicus, colluded with the Lord Ravager and used the power of the Stellaron to resurrect the Ambrosial Arbor. But here's the thing. Don Shu was just a chief alchemist. Even if she colluded with our enemies and summoned the Stellaron, how did she manage to bypass the Videodora guards around the Ambrosial Arbor?
I personally met Dan Shu once. Her closest friend was killed during the war on the Fanghu, and she harbored deep hatred towards the hunt. So she spent years making preparations in the Alchemy Commission, in order to take revenge on the Xianzhou.
Revenge is also a form of the hunt. However, that doesn't explain how she managed to bring the Stellaron into the Scale Gorge waterscape, which was guarded by the Videodora.
Well, you should ask Dan Shu herself for the answer.
Unfortunately, Dan Shu is dead, and even her corpse has crumbled into ash. That's one less clue we can pursue. According to the report, Lord Ravager Fantilia is the mastermind behind the entire conspiracy. She disguised herself as an ambassador of the Skyfaring Commission and traveled with you, only to vanish without a trace later on. It seems too convenient to label her as a scapegoat.
We were working with Diviner Fu, and she also witnessed Ventilia's true form. You're not going to doubt one of your own people, are you?
Of course not. We can trust the testimony of Master Diviner Fu Xuan. However, even if she saw it with her own eyes, we can't completely rule out the possibility that she might have been deceived. After all, it's suspicious how the culprit just bizarrely vanished. Oh, it seems that your answers have addressed all my questions. Generals, I am finished with my questioning.
So, what do you think, General Fei Shao? Have the doubts in the report been cleared up?
The two nameless have been honest in their answers. Even though there are some tricky details, my intuition tells me there is nothing wrong. However, the 3 questions I posed earlier were not just for the nameless, but for you too, General Jing Yuan. First, the disciples of Sanctus Medicus grew uninterrupted on the Law Fu, yet the 6 charioteers were not aware of it. That was a dereliction of duty. Second, you believed in the Stellaron Hunter's prophecy and entrusted outsiders to solve the crisis, even granting them access to the Plague Mark. That was a dereliction of responsibility. Third, you insist on holding the war dance right after the Ambrosial Arbor crisis, putting the Lawfu back in the spotlight. That is a dereliction of wisdom.
Merlin's Claw. Is this your line of thinking, or the 10 Lords?
From the moment I walked in, I made it clear that the questions I'd ask might not reflect my actual thoughts.
The disciples of Sanctus Medicus were deeply rooted and had been plotting for a long time. I admit it was my negligence for not noticing it earlier. As for the Stellaron Hunter's prophecy, I didn't believe all of it, but in the end, the Law Fu did survive the Ambrosial Arbor crisis. So, I think it's safe to say that Elio's prophecy about the future holds some merit. And as for the war dance, do you think I'm unaware of the risks? However, risks can also be opportunities. The Law Fu has lain low for too long. I believe it's time to stir up the dregs hidden in the depths and wash them away once and for all.
Just as I expected from our sophisticated divine foresight. You have a way with words. I like it. But, unfortunately, ever since the report was submitted, the Alliance has been filled with rumors and speculation. Even within the Lawfu, there are people accusing you of neglecting your duties, resulting in the Ambrosial Arbor's resurrection.
So what are your thoughts on all of this, General Fei Shao?
As a fellow Arbiter General, I fully understand the difficulties of this position. Personally, I think all these rumors are meaningless drivel. Across the sea of stars, the Divine Foresight knows better than anyone else what happened on the Luofu and the meaning behind it. Just as what happened on the Xianzhou Yaoqing recently.
You mean the Xianzhou Yaoqing is also...
The scouts of the Verdant Knights have sent back reports that Borisin are making trouble again. The Borisin packs that were once divided and scattered have started swallowing each other up, forming larger and larger packs. Moreover, there's an entity named Mongus behind it all.
An entity?
According to the report, this entity isn't actually a Borisin. It's a woman claiming to be the messenger of the Master of Immortality. She's described as having 12 faces and 12 pairs of fangs, as cruel as poison and as elusive as quicksand. The Borisin believe she'll give them a chance to rise again.
That's Ventilia.
That's right. You're lucky that I'm the one who came this time. If it were the Patina Justice or the Seer Strategist, this conversation might not be so friendly. I've always had faith in my instincts, so I don't doubt your good intentions. But the Alliance has its fair share of questions and doubts about the Luofu. So, my plan is to come up with an acceptable answer to satisfy the Alliance.
What's in this plan, General Fei Xiao?
General Jing Yuan, you already know what has to be done. But since you don't want to be the bad guy, I'll take care of it for you. You need the final word from the Ten Lords Commission to quell any doubts. And for that, I'll have to ask the two Nameless to visit the Shackling prison. No, I'm not imprisoning you. While you're there, I'll ask a judge in the Ten Lords Commission's Interrogation Division to record a detailed testimony with the karmic mirror from both of you. We'll fill in the gaps that weren't covered in the report and silence any protests within the Alliance.
I'm okay with that.
Your willingness to help is truly heartwarming, youngsters.
Then, as the Merlin's Claw requests,
Oh, there's one more thing. This testimony is for silencing the voices of opposition within the Alliance, but I would like to urge General Jing Yuan to listen to the pleas of the Foxians on the Xianzhou Yaoqing.
so, you are here for Hule.
Exactly. Hule is locked up in the Luofu's Shackling prison. Since he is the broodlord of the Borisin, I want to transfer him onto the Xianzhou Yaoqing and imprison him there. The recent movements of the Borisin suggest they're planning something big, so we must act preemptively.
It makes sense to have the Foxians keep an eye on their arch-nemesis. Since you trust my judgment, I'll repay that trust. What do you think about all this, General Huayan?
I was worried this would turn into a heated argument, but it seems like both of you are on the same page, solving each other's problems. I couldn't have asked for a better outcome.
And as for Hule, I'll send my lieutenants Zhao Chou and Moza to check on his condition in prison and ready him for transport. If there are no more questions, shall we get this started?